Good morning, it's Harvey Jackson. Just going to go through top news items, maybe explain a little bit more of the seasonal canola and some of the history of maybe when there is a drought. I know there's concerns about dryness out there, but then I've got clients with concerns of mucking it in right now too in the south. So there's issues everywhere, every year. Again, let's just maybe have a quick look. Here's the Reuters article about the U.S. court blocking the Trump tariffs. I personally don't think it's going to stick for very long. It's basically held up right now, but I would imagine there is going to be there's judges on Trump's side there that will probably supersede this in fairly quick order. Now, will it actually stop him from doing things like he still shipped the people to El Salvador or wherever, even though there was a court order stopping him from doing it, he still did it. So is this going to stop anything? Is my question. I kind of doubt it. Maybe a little bit of chaos in the meantime. India, I pointed this out yesterday, but the India tariffs or production is going to exceed their previous numbers out there. So you can see here, and I'm going to just point this out again, and you can see that there is some dryness or parts of Saskatchewan is going to be exempt from moisture in this 2-week period. So this is now again, weather modeling that is more than 3 days, 3-day forecast, and if it's a weather guy telling you it's 70% correct. Well, as soon as you get beyond 3 days, that it's exponentially wrong. Um, so yeah, and I guess a lot of that could be just because you don't know how the patterns are going to change. But you can look here that you're going to get a fair bit of moisture. Southern Manitoba, southeastern Saskatchewan, that's been getting moisture, is going to continue to get it. But it looks like Peace River, Edmonton area is going to get some moisture as well. So if you look at where the moisture has been getting and where it's landed, so this is the departure from average. So you can see a huge area in Saskatchewan that's been very deficient of moisture in the last 60 days here. And if you look at the moisture anomaly, big bullseye right there. So east of Saskatoon and north, and you've got some pockets, but the yellow is not good either. But it seems to be situated definitely in northern Saskatchewan, whereas a majority of the production is actually produced for the wheat and canola for sure. So this is going to go into the seasonality a little wee bit here, but I would love to see a map that will actually give me the numbers for canola and when does it actually hit its highs. My expectation would be there's a lot more highs in May, and that's what it's showing up in the seasonal chart. So the previous slide was from Susan Stroud. I've seen similar kind of stuff from and presented from Karen Braun as well. But you can see the seasonality is definitely in May, June when you actually have its highs. And this is 40 some years of data of using the November futures and when does it hit its highs. So let's just get into it here. So this number is not possible. So the ending stocks can't be 400,000 tons. So StatsCan is going to have to adjust the ending stocks from the previous year going into this year because we've already produced or already exported close to 8.5 or 8.2, and we're on pace still to be at 11.25 million metric tons export. And that tightness I just want to explain here is actually a problem because when we look at the drought year, and the reason to bring up the maps before I start talking seasonals is here's the drought year. You were fairly tight going into it. And when you start looking at the map, so you start going here, it's the very beginning of May when you actually had your seasonal high, and you dropped all the way down to 650 from 950, and you only recovered to 920. So you had that seasonality kick in no matter what, and then never recovered and never got higher until after the fall when it was confirmed a smaller crop. So I'm just looking at here's July contract. It was at $1,000. It pulled down to that 750, and then looking at that same kind of timeline because you got the skew of the front month here. So the same kind of timeline went from your 750 up to your 950, and then jumped up after that. So just understanding that there's a difference between old crop and new crop. Here we are, canola, old crop versus new crop. It's drifting down. So November is in favor to start becoming the front month. Now, grain companies do not have to wait until the middle of June to roll to the next futures month. With the decreasing volume and just the chart action, it looks like it's going to start happening sooner than later. And this decreasing in value is suggesting that it's actually happening soon. And not to say that I know exactly whether they're going to have you price or roll on the 13th of the month or whatever. Just remember, Richardson does not pay you this inversion of the difference in the futures. So if you're needing to price Richardson basis contracts, I would be looking at doing it sooner than later. Let's just have a look at canola, or all the market here. Canola is down 380 on July and slightly up on November. Rapeseed is up a buck. Soybean oil is flat. Crude oil is flat, and your soybeans up, and your wheats are basically flat as well. So you can see that this is just kind of flattening out the curve. Pretty choppy up here. If you need to sell, I would still look at making a cash sale there rather than waiting for the roll. Here's your November contract, choppy again. We made a double top. July did that as well. Is there going to be any weather that's going to push this up? It's possible, but if you looked at the previous charts I showed you, there was a drop before the weather, and it never even got to these May highs. Now, that doesn't mean that the market is going to react that way again, but even during drought years, it needs to be confirmed that there's less crop. And there is areas in Saskatchewan that looks like there's possible drought, and pretty early to call it drought just yet, but yeah, there's some issues there. European rapeseed pulled back again, but it still looks like it's got some support, and it's up against some of these short-term moving averages here as well. Last 3 days have been pretty positive for the crude palm oil. There's down at these values, it creates demand, and then you get this story like this, where Malaysia expands biodiesel, and Indonesia is actually on its way to be even including 50% of their biodiesel using palm oil, and some of that is some of the European mandates to curb some countries from deforestation. Now, when do they consider this deforestation? If it's a plantation with trees in it, I don't know. And then they so Europe is all against deforestation, and they are against even the Amazon inclusion of using soybeans. And so there's a whole push from some areas to onto the palm oil, and the palm oil is going to find its way into its own uses in its own countries here. So you look at soybean oil futures kind of teetering here, big pullback, but still looks like it's holding up some sort of support. Now, if there's any talk of any trade things going on, like as far as renewable fuels or biodiesel, it would be supportive for soybean oil and soybeans. Crude oil futures still within this range, up to the upper end. Here's the Canadian dollar. It's pulled off of the high that it made, but it doesn't seem to have any more traction as of right now. I think deals with tariffs would probably push this down. Now, with this court case, it might slow some of that deals actually happening too. Who knows? Here's your spring wheat. You can see that it's kind of going sideways here, pretty choppy, but it's got this 604 on the July, and your 634 on November, and so you can see this differential between the two front month and November is chopping around right around that 30 cents right now, and if we go all the way back to March, that seems to be the top end, 28 to the minimum, and then it gets down to 35, kind of a scenario. Your hard red winter is still in this downward channel at the top end. Same thing with your Chicago wheat and corn. A couple legs down here, but I've been saying this for a while, but any prevent plant could actually give some support to corn for some upside, because they're not likely to plant corn when you see December futures at 440 or less. And that's all I have for you today.